Midwest Huddle, take one.
One of the 3 new teams for Season 2 of the $10,000 drag shootout are the Midwest Mayhem boys. After the 10K Olympics, they ended up with the 1979 G-Body Cutlass.
Seeing the Cutlass for the first time, it was rough. There's no paint. It's all primered and covered in Bondo. There's a hole in the roof. We knew it would be a lot of work, but at the same time, it would be. I felt it would be fitting for our group of guys. It's kind of our style.
It was one of the cars that was in our pick because we know what to do with them. There's so much stuff available for them, and at the end of the day, it's not just another Mustang. It's a freaking G-Body. They're awesome.
The boys in red had a little different approach than the other 3 teams on their bill. They started and finished with a stock bottom-end 4.8 LS engine. Stock rods, pistons, crankshaft, even the 300,000-mile piston rings were used. ARP provided the main and head studs for the stock LS, along with a custom comp camshaft, comp short travel lifters, BTR valve springs and push rods, and hand-ported factory cylinder heads.
We wanted to be able to stretch that out by spinning more RPM. So we spent the money in valve train to make it more efficient and get the revs up and keep the valve train stable to make more horsepower with that small turbo.
There's a lot of doubt because they are scared of using stock parts. From where we come from, a stock LS with 1,000 horsepower is not unheard of. There's plenty out there. I own one. They feel like you have to do all this stuff to them to make them last, and it's not true.
A Borg Warner 80mm turbo, a knockoff Chinese wastegate, and an air-to-air intercooler from Summit provides all the boost the stock 4.8 engine needs.
We have taken 4.8s and maxed out turbos that are way larger, way more capable than that 80mm Borg, and not had a struggle. And those ones we've never even opened up. They were just complete pull them out of the junkyard, no ring gap checking, nothing.
In the drivetrain department, Midwest Mayhem used a manual valve body and internal parts from Summit to build their Turbo 400 transmission.
We built it as cheap as we could to hold the power that we're going to make, which is just upgraded 34-element sprag.
To shift their transmission, Midwest Mayhem won a TCI Outlaw shifter during the go-kart challenge, saving them some bucks to put elsewhere in the bill.
Shifters are expensive, so it was great to save that money there.
A used 8.8 rear end with Mosier 35 spline axles, spool, rear cover, and 373 rear gear from US Gear completes the drivetrain in the Junkyard dog.
It's definitely a budget build. We're going to throw some small parts at it and make big power and get it down the track.
Lucas Oil provided all the fluids these teams need to run their drag cars down the strip. Midwest used a 10W40 racing oil for their Turbo LS. Midwest Mayhem stuck with the stock style suspension with 8.8 conversion brackets, spherical bearings from BMR, springs from Summit Racing, and strange double adjustable shocks to help dial in the Cutlass once they got to the track.
It's a pretty solid suspension setup from the factory. It has a lot of adjustability. We added some brackets on to change our bar angles, pinion angles. Instant center. It's got a lot of adjustability. It works well. It's proven. I run it on my own car.
And finally, to help the car stop at 140 plus miles per hour, Aerospace stepped in with front brakes and with hawk pads on the rear behind Vision 15-inch steel wheels wrapped in Mickey Thompson 275 Pro Drag radials, this G-Body is ready to roll. The team used HOLLEY EFI in their Cutlass, and Joey tuned their Junkyard LS up to 885 horsepower on the dyno. Midwest Mayhem spent the least amount of money on their Cutlass, only spending $9,516.61 of their $10,000 budget.
This is what we do. We build cars. We know that this combo is going to work. I know there's been talk that, we're freaking nuts for doing the engine combo that we did, but we've done it. We've raced it. We've won a buttload of cash with it. We know that it works. We know that it'll do what we need it to do.
Even with a stock bottom-end LS engine, Midwest Mayhem's 79 Cutlass is a solid contender. There's no doubt these boys built a serious hot rod.